Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to the It Girl Hotline. Today we're going to be talking about just how important being your own person is. Okay, now you may be like, Ava, what do you mean by that? Okay, we constantly tend to follow the crowd and not be our own leader. Okay, we are pressured upon every single day to, have this certain bag, to look this certain way, to try this different style of makeup. We are pressured upon all the time to change ourselves for other people or to do things to make us fit in a certain way. And listen, I think certain trends can be amazing, okay? Certain trends can be exactly what you love, and that's okay. That's awesome. It's okay to like trends, but it's not okay to use them as a way to fit in with other people. Because listen, it's way easier to, follow the crowd than it is to lead it. Okay? And what we're going to try to get from this video is you are going to try to be the leader of that crowd. Okay? Because listen, you depersonalizing yourself for other people is not what's going to get you on the right track to success, okay? And listen, do we want to be successful? Yes. But is us depersonalizing ourselves and becoming an exact copy of everybody else, like hello, copy and paste, that's not going to get us places in life. Listen, for example, okay, if you have a future boss, okay, which I bet you will, and you're at a job interview, and there's 20 candidates who are exactly the same, and then there's one candidate who is very different, okay? They are themselves uniquely, they express themselves in that way. But you have 20 candidates who are exactly the same. Who is that boss gonna pick? Are they gonna pick one of those 20 people who are exactly the same, talk the same, dress the same? Most likely not, okay? They're gonna pick the person who has individualized themselves and knows themselves as a person. They have their own unique hobbies, their own unique interests, That is beautiful, okay? You are supposed to be that one baddie who's individualized themselves enough to where they're their own person, okay? And that is identified. Never lose your sense of self because you think it'll make life easier, okay? Never change yourself for other people because you think it'll get you friends, okay? Never change yourself because you think it'll stop you from getting bullied, okay? In reality is never change yourself for the approval of other people, okay? Because then you are pushing yourself down really, really deep into this very, very dark rabbit hole, okay? And this rabbit hole is very hard to dig yourself out of, okay? You changing yourself to look exactly like other people, to be exactly like other people, to like the same things as other people, that is pushing you deep down in this rabbit hole, okay? You losing yourself for the approval for other people, which, keep in mind, you may not even get this approval. You're just changing yourself because it's what you think will be better, okay? When really you are doing more damage than the good that you think you're doing to yourself, if that makes any sense, okay? You trying to now dig yourself out of this rabbit hole is going to feel close to impossible because then after you have depersonalized yourself so much, it is going to be so hard to find exactly who you are again, if that makes sense. And if you may be like, oh, I know myself, I know exactly who I am, I know what I like, whatever, you are going to find that it's so hard to do, okay? Because you are going to now feel like you have things to lose. You are going to feel like, oh, well, I fit in with these people. I'm not going to fit in with them anymore. You are going to feel that there's things to lose, and you are going to go through an identity crisis because you may be like, well, what if I don't like the same things that I did 3 years ago? Whatever, which most likely will happen because we evolve as humans. We like different things. We have different thoughts, different feelings. We change a lot as humans, okay? And we don't have to change for other people. And that's something that I want you to pick up from this video, okay? Because, listen, going through an identity crisis is not easy. Finding the person that you lost is not easy. Finding your sense of self is not easy after it's lost, okay? Listen, never, ever, ever change yourself for other people, okay? We do not need to go down that hole. Depersonalization stems from one core belief that you may have, and that is that you're not good enough, okay? Which you are. And depersonalization can make you feel like you are in a passenger seat of your own life. Like you are not actually there, okay? Because you will feel so far from your actual self that you will have literally like almost checked out of your own life. Okay, that is literally how it will feel. Okay? Losing your sense of self is so dangerous because it is so hard to get back. Okay? You changing every little bit of yourself to make you feel something, to make you feel good about yourself, it's not gonna work. Okay? And it's really hard to go back from that. When you wake up and realize, wow, I am good enough. Okay, now I want to go back to how I was 5 years ago, you know, when this never happened. It's going to be so hard to go back to that. It really will be, because depersonalization digs you into a hole and it's very hard to get out of, okay? It puts you in a world full of followers when you should be a leader. You should be leading something because you are good enough and you have a reason to be here. You may not have found that yet, but trust me, you will. And most of the time, this feeling of, you know, I'm not good enough, whatever, it stems from something else. And that leads to depersonalization, which is scary and dangerous. And we want to stay true to ourselves as much as we can. And you trying to be another person because you think, oh, well, if I'm somebody else, maybe I'll feel good enough. When you realize that's not going to work, that's when everything changes, okay? And that's when you want to go back to the person who you were before, okay? And you realize that's way harder to do than it seems, okay? It's way easier to change everything about yourself than to go back to the way you were, all right? The best possible scenario is for you not to get trapped in following everybody else, okay? Don't be a follower, be a leader. Be yourself, okay? As hard as it may be some days, you'd be like, wow, I'm so different from everybody else. Or I'm getting bullied because of the things that I like. You may be like that and you may feel that way and that may happen to you. But in reality, who's going to be more successful in 20 years? The person who stayed true to themselves and knows exactly who they are inside and out, or the person who has lost their sense of self and is so far down the road of being exactly like everybody else? Okay, this is your sign to stay true to yourself, okay? Because trust me, it may be hard now, but it'll help you in the long run, okay? Trust me. I feel like people started to lose their sense of self more than ever when social media was created. Because then we are bombarded with trends every single day. What clothes are trending, you know, whatever it is, okay? Whatever is trending, we are bombarded with it every single day. And it almost tempts us because we're like, wow, well, I want to have what everybody else has, so I'll be cool, so I'll fit in. It literally like tricks our mind, you know? And we don't even know if it's something that we actually like. Like when Stanleys were popular, everybody had to have one, okay? And they would spill everywhere, all right? Literally always. You always had to have paper towels on you because you knew one was gonna spill, all right? I even remember when at my school, Stanleys got banned in certain classrooms. Like, you would have to take them outside of the classroom. It got that bad. It was crazy. But I remember literally everybody had to have a Stanley, or else, like, you know, they weren't the thing. Okay? And listen, I fell for that trap. Okay? I was like, oh, I'll buy a Stanley. That's cool. You know? Well, I actually kind of needed a water bottle. And I am obsessed with water bottles. I love getting new water bottles. Okay? Water bottles are just so fun. I don't know what it's about it, but if you're a girl, you probably know what I'm talking about. Okay? That weird obsession with water bottles. It really gets out of hand. But I was one of the people who felt like I had to have one. And it wasn't necessarily because I wanted to be cool or I wanted to fit in. It was more for the fact that, like, I actually liked the water bottle. Okay, now I didn't get one of the ones with, you know, the handle and the straw. I got one of the ones with, like, the little flippy straw. You know what I'm talking about? I got one of those. Loved that thing. It literally survived being thrown on the concrete multiple times. By accident, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is it's okay to like trends, but it gets to a point, okay? You cannot, literally following every single trend is so tiring. Like, nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. It's a full-time job at that point, okay? It literally gets to a point, all right? Trends are consuming. They're self-consuming, okay? And just because something is trendy one day doesn't mean it's going to be trending the next. So why are we changing ourselves entirely, okay? When maybe, you know, the next day, all this stuff that we worked for, maybe for nothing, okay? Being a follower is tiring. Versus being yourself, you control what you like. Whereas being a follower, you know, you like the same things as everybody else. You follow the trends. If somebody thinks that this isn't cool, then it's not cool. Stuff like that, okay? You being a follower is tiring, okay? You are tiring yourself out, believe it or not, okay? And you should like trends because you actually like them. You shouldn't need to feel like you have to follow certain things to fit into a societal norm, okay? You shouldn't need to feel the need to follow trends, okay? Especially ones that you don't like. I see so many people follow every single trend, and I'm like, there's no way you can like literally everything. Literally everything that's trending. There's no way you can like that. It just doesn't make sense, okay? It literally gets to a point where there has to be something that you don't like, okay? Literally, being a follower is tiring, okay? And trends are kind of stupid unless you actually like them. Unless you actually like something that's trending and you find it, you know, like this perfect, beautiful trend. Unless you find it like that, then it's not worth it, okay? It's not worth changing yourself over or fitting into a societal norm over, okay? If it's not something that you actually like, you know, don't follow it. Like, it seems simple, but in reality it's kind of not, okay? Because there's so much pressure on people every single day to follow trends and to be trendy or whatever so they fit in, okay? When really, in reality, we shouldn't need to feel like we need to fit into every scenario, okay? Because in reality, we are humans, and we won't, okay? That is normal. You being yourself, you will not fit into every situation, and that is okay. That is okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys back, okay, to a little story time from when little old Ava was in 2nd grade, okay? Because listen, I kind of fell into the depersonalization little trap that we do not want to get caught in because that is dangerous, okay? Now, let me set you guys the scene. Little old Ava was in 2nd grade, okay? Now this is a 100% true story, so it's all coming from me, all right? I was in 2nd grade and I had this massive friend group of probably about 10 girls, okay? We were all friends, everything was fine. We would go on the swings together, you know, go play outside at recess. It was really nothing deep. We were just friends. Like, everything was so light and fun and airy, whatever. Then all of a sudden, which this is what I felt like was literally an overnight change for me. All right, they were like, oh, I want to be popular. That's literally what their brain like shifted to overnight. Oh, I want to become popular. And then, of course, little old Ava got kicked out of that group because she was told that she wasn't good enough and that she wasn't popular enough. All right? Literally, how can you define someone as that? Because I was my own individualized person. I wouldn't follow all the trends. I wouldn't whatever. I was my own person. And that's literally why they didn't want me to be part of their group, because I was my own person. Now, of course, all the other girls part of that friend group all had their matching sneakers on, matching sweatshirts, all that stuff. Okay, I swear, loads of them matched like every single day, and I don't even know if they knew about it, to be honest. But I was so far down the trap, like, oh, I need to fit in with these girls. Like, I need friends. Like, I need to fit in with these girls. And so what did I do? I went to the store and I found the same exact pair of shoes as them. And I literally went home. I looked it up on YouTube, how to tie your shoes, because 2nd grade Ava did not know that. All right? I literally studied that video for like an hour. I was like practicing. I was like, oh my God, I need to learn how to tie my shoes so I can fit in with these girls. That's literally what I was thinking. I took up so much of my time trying to fit in with these girls. But thank you guys for teaching me how to tie my shoes, because that's a real life lesson there, okay? That's something that I would not have known how to do. So thanks. But I ended up going to school the next day, wearing my new shoes, feeling like, you know, awesome sauce. I was like, oh my God, I got these new sneaks. I'm feeling great, whatever. I show them to almost what I felt like was the ringleader of the group, okay? I was like, look, I got these new shoes. And like 3 of the girls were wearing these same exact tennis shoes. And they're like, oh my God. And then they didn't talk to me for like 3 days. And then after that, I went to the store again because I was like, oh, I saw this sweatshirt that they were wearing at the store in the girls section when I was going to get the shoes. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get the sweatshirt too. So I got the sweatshirt. I showed up the next day and I was like, oh my God, look at the sweatshirt that I got. I'm twinning with you. And I acted like I literally had no clue that she had the sweatshirt too, which was kind of stupid on my part because literally anybody in that situation would have known that it was obvious that I was kind of trying to copy her. But it's because I felt like I needed to be like her to fit into this group, okay? Which was in fact not true. And actually after that, that girl ended up becoming one of my biggest bullies in the 2nd grade. Now that story time is a good representation on how something that you think could be good can turn bad, okay? Now that also applies to you depersonalizing yourself to basically become similar to lots of other people, okay? That also applies to that, all right? You think that something could be good for you because it'll make you fit in, it'll make you feel something, whatever. You think that that'll make you feel good, but then it turns out bad because then you want to go back, then you want to find yourself again, and then it's way harder than it was in the beginning, okay? Now that is scary to come back from, but listen, what I'm saying is true, okay? Do not get caught up in changing yourself so much that you lose yourself. The only time you should be changing yourself is when it's for the good, okay? If you notice you have a certain toxic trait or just something like that, you can change yourself for the better, but don't change yourself out of anything else. Stop trying to become a follower, okay? It is holding you back. Okay, you have so much potential and you have a massive reason for being here, and you can have a really big impact on this world. The only thing that is holding you back is you being exactly like other people and following everybody else just because it feels comfortable, okay? Being a leader is feeling the uncomfortable, and it will feel uncomfortable for a while until it feels good and until you start feeling empowered by your actions, okay? You following everybody else, you are never going to feel a sense of accomplishment because you know everybody else is getting that same exact accomplishment. Everybody else is getting treated the same exact way. You are never going to feel anything. You are going to feel numb, okay? Because you are not going to feel different than everybody else, okay? You are going to feel the exact same. And that is what you're doing to yourself by following everybody else because it's comfortable. Not because you want to, because it's comfortable, okay? And I get it, we want to be comfortable sometimes, but what happens when the comfortable isn't there to support us anymore, okay? What are we going to do? When we have ourselves and we just have to be alone by ourselves, what are we going to do? Okay, if we don't have that comfy spot anymore, how are we going to deal with the uncomfortable? We might as well face it head on, okay? And get used to the uncomfortable because we're going to have to feel it sometimes, okay? It's not always about the comfy spots in life, okay? It's all the uncomfy ones too. Trust me, I felt uncomfortable before. Lots of people have. It's a normal feeling. Get used to it, okay? Stop trying to live in a fake reality that is not your own, because that is hindering you and that is hindering your growth. Now, here's a pro of staying true to yourself. All right, I want you to imagine a massive group full of people, and they are all copy and paste versions of each other. Now, I want you to imagine yourself kind of individualized by yourself, whatever. It's fine. It's okay that you're by yourself. All right, now, who are these people going to be intimidated by in this massive group? Are they going to be intimidated by someone else in their group who is uncertain of their life, is exactly like them, doesn't know where they're going? Or are they going to be intimidated by the person who knows exactly where they're going, is very certain about their life, has confidence in themselves, and knows exactly who they are? They're going to be intimidated by that one person, and that's you, okay? Have confidence in yourself. Know who you are as a person, okay? Because believe it or not, whether they show it or not, they are intimidated by you, okay? Because you have something that they don't have. And they are scared of that. They are scared of that, all right? Realize it, okay? Because trust me, you are more powerful than you think if you stay true to yourself and you don't follow the crowd. Embrace yourself and do not let your insecurities get the best of you, because trust me, they will try to, all right? And what is very important is that you do not let them win, okay? Because you deserve to have your moment being the rising star, okay? You do not deserve to be brought back to ground zero and, become a follower again. You do not deserve that, okay? You deserve to be up in the sky, thriving, okay? You deserve that, okay? Remember, insecurity is an opinion, okay? You can challenge that, and you can know whether that opinion is true or not. That's for you to decide. That's not for anybody else to decide, okay? And listen, if it's an insecurity about your looks, challenge that, girl. Challenge that, okay? Because the last thing you should be calling yourself is ugly, okay? You are not ugly. You are confident, you are strong, you are beautiful, and you are on top of this world, okay? Listen, the last thing you should be calling yourself is ugly, okay? I hate when I see a strong woman call themselves ugly. It makes me so mad, okay? Because you are the farthest thing from ugly. Now, I really hope that you guys learned something from this podcast episode. I had a really fun time talking with you guys on just exactly how to be you and how to stick out from the crowd, because sometimes it's very easy to get caught in it, all right? And what matters is that we get out of it and that we rise above, because that is beautiful. And if you guys have any video suggestions for It Girl Hotline, make sure you comment that down below, because I will be so happy to take your guys' video suggestions. Thank you guys so much. All right, I love you guys so much, and remember, stay true to yourself, okay?